Ian! Oh, I'm so excited.
Yeah.
You got it, right?
Yeah, you said we're gonna work on a thing tonight, right?
Yeah, we're gonna shoot a video.
Okay, right on.
You got the movie, right?
Movie. Is that what we're doing tonight?
What else would we be doing?
No, man, we do all kinds of things. Not only reviews, but for BMN Films.
We're so productive and do so many great things.
Yeah.
But we said we were gonna watch the movie tonight.
What movie was it again?
The new Jacob's Ladder movie.
Right. You know what? I do remember that. I did get it. I totally. I just left it inside. Give me 1 minute. I will be right back. I'm gonna go grab the movie. Don't worry about it. This was for a different thing. Don't look at. There's nothing relevant going on here. I'm gonna go get the movie. I'll be right back.
Ian.
Chris.
So Jacob's Ladder. I love that movie.
Okay.
And if I was to have it remade, I would go, do you remember that guy who made that terrible Netflix movie, How It Ends? Like, that's the guy I want to remake this classic movie. Turns out I was wrong. No,
spoilers.
No, so Jacob's Ladder is one of my, not favorites, but it is a really solid movie for me. I watch it often.
Very well made.
Very well made. One could say more well made than this one.
Really giving away your opinions right out of the gate, huh?
I have some actually positive things to say about this new one.
Yeah.
So this is very similar to the original, sort of, storyline-wise, for some of it. It deviates here and there.
Yeah.
But the original is about a Vietnam War vet who has returned to his life, but is seeing shadowy figures and is experiencing some paranoia and memories. And it is a very trippy movie. It is a very horrifying movie in some ways.
Yeah.
Very dramatic movie, and it has a cult following because it has a very big twist ending, which you were extremely unimpressed with. I sat here
Apparently
and
you're just
I
going to share
watched
both of our
him,
opinions for us.
I watched him experience. He had never seen it before. I watched you experience the last 10 minutes of the movie, and you looked over at me like, "What?" And
I've always been aware that Jacob's Ladder is notorious for its twist ending.
Okay.
And it has been built up, high up on a ladder, you could say. There's no way that ending could have ever lived up to the expectation I had for it.
But you didn't see it coming.
I wouldn't have thought it would have been that dumb.
How is it dumb?
I don't know. It just did nothing for me.
The whole movie takes place between his last moments of life.
I didn't fail to understand the ending.
It's been done to death now. Like,
sure,
you've seen it so many times. So
and maybe this is just one of those movies that can never have the impact it had in its day. Trying to watch it now, because you're right, other things have synthesized it.
Okay.
I respected it for what it was. I respected it for how it was groundbreaking in its time, but I'd also seen the things that had come out afterwards.
I'm so confused by this mentality where you're like, just because
I liked the movie, I just didn't like the ending as much.
But to me, like, the execution was perfect.
Yeah.
And so that's what made it. The movie is good on a rewatch then because of it. You start
I will say the original Jacob's Ladder has a lot more rewatchability than the new one does.
Oh, for certain.
I was aware. I watched the new one first, and then upon finishing, I immediatty went to find the old one.
Too much information.
I immediately went to go find the old one and watch that too in preparation for our discussion tonight. But I did know, again, as I said, that ending is a big deal. So I was expecting, even while watching the new one, there's going to be a big ending to this one. It'll probably be different, but I don't know what it is, so it doesn't matter. So I'm looking for it, right? Which is always a bad place to start off from a movie. That's why I think people don't have as great an experience with M. Night Shyamalan movies as they could, because they're just sitting there trying to figure out the twist and either getting mad it isn't what they thought it was going to be.
That's why The Sixth Sense worked so well, because people didn't
expect it. Yeah. And not to say all of his movies have been great since, and everybody's an idiot, because some of them were certainly bad, but I think, I know The Village was not my favorite movie, and that's probably better than I give it credit for. Anyway, getting way off track here. So I was looking for the ending, and I spotted a bunch of ones that I thought were going to happen that all would have been dumb and made me groan. And it didn't do that, but it also didn't wrap up in any kind of satisfying way. Because like the original, there's basically two different timelines.
Sure.
both are reasonably believable.
Sure.
The ending could make either one valid and the other invalid. And I guarantee you going back and watching the new Jacob's Ladder is just confusing the second time around. You're like, why does this scene exist? Why does this make sense? The science is so stupid that it could, I guess, explain it, but I don't want it to because it's dumb.
They just took so here's what I'll say. Michael Ealy is the main actor in this movie, and I think he does a very good job. I think he's a fantastic actor.
He's very expressive.
Yes.
And I think that's
very
great.
emotional eyes.
Yes.
If that makes sense. The goddamn guy is 46 years old, and he looks better than I ever have, which is insane.
Yeah, the acting was great.
The acting across the board, I thought was all right. The wife is kind of like useless of a character. Not the
I didn't even know
actress's
her
fault.
name until
She's
the
just
last
kind
20
of like
minutes.
useless. But the brother, I don't know his name in real
Isaac.
life, but he also did a good job.
Yeah.
The movie looks fine. The production qualities
So,
are fine.
The production values were very good, but they didn't make good choices.
Yeah.
So this movie did a thing that is common for movies of this time period, in that it established a tone early and then maintained that tone throughout, particularly with its color choices.
Green.
Yeah, it was the same throughout, which is not what you want for a story about PTSD, about guilt. I think what the original movie did better was it represents these episodes.
Emotion.
These departures from what normal's the wrong word for it, because that makes it seem like experiencing PTSD is abnormal. That's actually quite normal given the circumstances.
Certainly, but I understand what you're saying.
The main character's gone through in both cases, but it should be, here's the path I want my life to be on. Here are the episodes that make it so that it can't be.
It's called visual storytelling.
Yeah.
And it is very important. And what separates a lot of good movies, when the camera work actually adds the story instead of just being what you are seeing. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So,
and I think there are some great movies that establish a tone and stick to it. Like some of the movies that do that are some of my favorite movies.
Yeah.
I just don't think it works for the type of story being told.
This is a highbrow, very cerebral story.
Yeah.
At least the original is.
Yeah.
And they execute that perfectly, as far as I'm concerned. That movie is fantastic. Looking, scored, acted.
Yes.
Tim Robbins is the man, as always. And had you not known there was a twist coming, you're like, wait, how does this all? And then it does wrap up for me in a real way. There's lots of red herrings and stuff like that, but that's fine. This movie takes a lot of those same scenes from the original and a B plot from the original and says, okay, yeah, that's the fucking movie. That's how it wraps up.
It's definitely doing its own thing to its credit.
Sort
I don't
of.
just want a remake of the original.
But it doesn't do enough.
No, I don't.
Because
I agree.
like the whole, and fuck it, the twist is
we're going to get into spoilers for sure.
So I wouldn't say if you love the Jacob's Ladder, this is worth checking out. Like if you love the original, this isn't worth checking out.
Yeah.
But it's not an easy job either.
No.
You take that cult classic movie that everybody knows has this amazing twisty ending, and then you're like, okay, I'm going to remake it, but it's got to be somehow different.
Yeah.
That's a hard thing to do.
And the original is so unique of a movie as well.
So like going into this, you already are expecting that twist ending.
Yeah. I believe that a good Jacob's Ladder movie could be made. I also don't know why you'd want to bother to try. So let's go ahead and get into some spoilers.
Okay.
I wanted this new movie to say more about something.
PTSD and
I don't necessarily even feel... I think it loses a lot of its punch because it kind of absolves the government of any kind of wrongdoing.
Yeah.
In a way.
I hear what you're saying.
Like
some mad scientist guy. Yeah.
So it's just a mad scientist who's pissed off that the FDA won't let him put out his thing.
That's so stupid.
So he's going to create it in secret and the FDA is going to catch up eventually. And he's going to just randomly test it on people. I mean, I guess you could argue perhaps it says something about how in our current day and age, politicians are so frozen to not be able to do anything because somebody will yell at them no matter what they do, that they don't allow things to happen, so you have to make things happen on your own, and this is what results. But I am really reaching here. I'm really reaching
but like
for a good
PTSD is an important aspect of this movie, and that's what they should have focused on then.
Yeah.
Instead of like this weird mad scientist thing.
And I don't really feel like they nailed.
No.
I don't think it reflected that they did understand this. And I don't know who wrote this. I don't know anything about Michael Rosenthal, what his life experience, David Rosenthal, what his life experience has been like. But to me it felt like it just waves it all away as, oh, it's just the drug. It's not the PTSD, it's the drug. And I guess maybe you could argue that a little bit.
So that's a throwback to the original, though.
Yeah.
They introduced that drug plot line in the original, and it is kind of a red herring of sorts. You know, you're like, oh, maybe this is all a government thing and conspiracy. Well,
I would like a little bit more certainty.
But that's played up, certainly played up as a B plot line, and it's completely focused on here. And the only real other difference is they bring in this brother character who plays like just another version of him.
Yeah.
And his mind, I guess.
Yeah.
But I do feel like it is a nice descent into madness. You do feel like he's struggling through his inner hell, and I was brought in. Like, I liked the paranoia and everything. I liked it. It's just that the ending is what kills this movie for me.
Yeah, I think that was going back to what I was saying, where as I was on the ride, I was mostly, I'm reticent to really say I was enjoying it, but I'm like, I'm on for this ride. I'm excited to see where it ends up. And it didn't end in a satisfying place.
But at least it does end, unlike other David M. Rosenthal movies.
How does it end?
So yeah, we learn the doctor is just a mad scientist, and he wants to give these drugs out to help people or not fight the FDA.
And the guy who we thought, Jacob Singer, who we thought was a surgeon, is actually a drug addict who was just thinking he was his brother.
Yeah, and
who was the actual put together one.
They did do 40 minutes into this movie. They do the line from the very end of Jacob's Ladder, and I was like, really? This is what we're doing? It's the chiropractor from the original says, if you're frightened to die and holding on, you'll see devils tearing your life apart. But once you make your peace, the devils become angels and free you from this earth, which makes perfect sense in the original.
Kind of speak to a little bit of the thesis of both of these movies in that it's people literally dealing with their demons.
Yes. Okay.
In both cases, that's true.
Okay, I see that.
Now, in this case, the demons are becoming manifest, but I also don't think in this movie, I guess part of my problem with the current movie is that it just ends up being the drugs. That's all that it was the whole time.
Exactly.
And so there's really no religious or hell component to it.
Nope.
You kind of need that, though. Like, if you're literally dealing with your demons, why are you not talking about afterlife? Because it's fear of death and all of that plays into
And he's not even literally, like, he's not dealing with his own demons. They're not even his fault. It's just this drug. Yeah. It's so stupid. Yeah. It undermines everything. Would you recommend it?
No, I wouldn't. I don't. As somebody who hadn't seen the original, like I said, until today, I don't think it really offers me enough to really want to jump in now. I would not have seen this movie if you weren't so hot to see it, and I'm still feeling like, I could have just not seen that, and I'd have been
I was
fine.
very excited to see it. I definitely didn't think it was going to be good.
Okay.
So
there wasn't a lot of buzz about this one.
No.
They weren't pushing it real hard.
I thought it had production issues. I thought it's been sitting in production hell for a while. Maybe I was wrong. I don't know. It didn't seem. That's what I thought it was. And when I started watching,
this movie feels like it was exactly what they intended.
And so I don't have issues with any of the production.
Yeah.
Just some of the storytelling.
Yeah.
So I'm actually way more positive on it than I was expecting to be. It should have been called Jacob's Stepladder or something. That's gonna do it for this episode of the Bad Movie Night show thing. If you like it, leave us a review on iTunes.
That's not this is the video show.
What did you think of Jacob's Ladder?
But you can subscribe to us here on YouTube.
What did you think of Jacob's Ladder? Leave your notes in the comments below.
And call our hotline. Chris will add the number here. But if you'd like to see us talk about really low budget, bad, straight to VHS schlock from the same time period as the original Jacob's Ladder, please join us on our podcast everywhere fine podcasts are sold.
Anything else?
That's it.
Okay. That's going to do it. We'll catch you here next time. Goodbye.